Thank you. Mr. City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Thanks. Councillor Campbell?
Present.
Councillor Carlson? I'll keep on going. Councillor Croson?
No, he's not. Councillor Carlson or Croson, can you hear us?
Is my square the one that you were talking about? Because I don't know what going up.
It is now, and you're Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've started the meeting, but I can't hear anything.
No, I don't see them. I don't hear them. There they. I see them now.
Jeff, can you hear us? So they can hear each other, they just can't hear us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a technology break.
Councillor Croson, can you hear us?
Very
I can
quietly.
hear you.
Maybe.
I was going to suggest charades if you guys wanted to do that for us.
What did she say? Councillor Carlson, you can hear us?
You are so very quiet, Mr. Sarsfield.
Well, that's nice for a change. But you're hearing us, so it sounds like we're working again. So as soon as everyone's back, we'll start again.
Belinda, can you hear well enough?
I can hear them just barely, but enough to pay attention to them. I say go ahead. We'll be good listeners.
I'll crank up my volume.
So continue on roll call. Try roll call one more time. Yep. Okay, we're going to try the roll call. Third time's the charm. Councillor Campbell.
Here.
Councillor Carlson. Councillor Carlson.
Present.
Councillor Croson.
Here.
Councillor Dodick.
Present.
Councillor Middleton Hope.
Present.
Councillor Palladino.
Present.
Acting Mayor Schmidt-Rempel.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Parker.
Here.
Mayor Higgin. So 8 of the members are present and quorum is established.
Thank you, Mr. Sarsfield. So we call this meeting to order. In the acknowledgement statement, the City of Lethbridge acknowledges that we are gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains, pays respect to the Blackfoot people past, present, and future, while recognizing and respecting their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationships to the land. The City of Lethbridge is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region Number 3. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. And be it resolved that the agenda of the Economic Standing Policy Committee meeting on February the 15th, 2023 be adopted as presented. I have a mover. There we go. Councillor, I'd be Acting Mayor Parker. Anything else? All those in favor? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Consent agenda, be it resolved that the minutes of the Economic Standing Policy Committee meeting held on January the 18th, 2023 be approved, and the Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign the same. Further, be it resolved that the status of initiatives for February the 15th, 2023 be received as information. Is there a mover for this motion? Deputy Mayor Parker, thank you very much. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to submissions. And the first item on the agenda is item 6.1. Mr. Ali from Transportation regarding bylaw number 6393, increase in parking fines, amendment to the traffic bylaw 5834. Mr. Ali.
So there is no presentation for this item, it's a submission, so we have the Transportation Department here available for any questions that council might have.
All right, we have a resolution in regards to bylaw number 6393, increase of parking fines, amendment to the traffic bylaw 5834. Be it resolved that the Economic Standing Policy Committee meeting recommend the council approve the proposed changes to traffic bylaw 5834, proceed with consideration of second and third reading of bylaw 6393, and further that the recommendation be forwarded to the February the 21st, 2023 City Council meeting as an urgent business item.
Before debating the resolution, we have people wish to speak.
Before we debate this resolution, we have members of the audience who may wish to come forward. You'll be asked to state your name. You will be provided with 5 minutes maximum to provide your insights, your comments, and your concerns, and we look forward to them. We'll start off with those that we have on the list to begin with. Ms. Sarah Ames. Did I get your last name right, Sarah?
It's Amy's.
Ames, there you go. You have 5 minutes, Ms. Ames. Go ahead.
Thank you. So good afternoon, Acting or Deputy Mayor and Council. Thank you for affording me this time to present to you on behalf of the Downtown Lethbridge Business Revitalization Zone membership, which consists of well over 600 businesses and property owners. This issue is of great interest to many and actually made it onto the CBC Calgary Homestretch show last night. So Alberta is watching. I have heard overwhelmingly from the membership that the planned increase to parking ticket fines from $10 to $35 will significantly detract from the positive downtown experience we are trying so hard to cultivate. As you have heard from the many people who took time to contact the city about this issue, business and property owners in the downtown continue to struggle with both community perceptions of an unsafe space and the realities of living and working downtown. We at the BRZ consistently communicate the messaging that the downtown is a safe and inviting destination, and yet in reality we see increasing numbers of ground floor business locations choosing to shutter their businesses because of the effects of the opioid crisis and its general fallout. I hear from business members who fear for the safety of their properties, themselves, their staff and customers on almost a daily basis, and further hear from these people that if they could, they would move their businesses to a safer area of the city. Now these people are actively looking to relocate to areas where parking is ample and free. Doubling the parking fines for unpaid tickets will do much to dissuade community and visitors alike to continue patronizing downtown businesses and services. So many people have already indicated that if the risk of an eventual $50 parking fine is introduced into the downtown, people just simply will not come to the downtown. Small business owners, the lifeblood of many Canadian communities, and those specifically in our downtown are struggling and have been doing so for some years now. Perception, reality, COVID, the opioid crisis, and a looming economic slowdown are all poised to dismantle the lives and activities of small business owners, and yet so many maintain their conviction that the community's heart beats in the downtown, and despite these hardships, they remain downtown. Surely City Council does not wish to reward this dedication and loyalty to community with yet another blow to their already diminished pocketbooks. One needs also to understand the negative effect this increase may have on the many economically vulnerable people who need to travel downtown and park to receive service. As well, some of our elderly population struggle with technology and smartphone applications are not the answer for everyone. So to counteract our significant objections to the proposed increase to parking fines, we also have some suggestions and possible solutions to the city's need to generate revenue. Perhaps the city could consider imposing parking fees in other areas of the city where there is commercial activity and currently free on-the-street parking. The city could also consider the problems with the parking kiosks currently in use. Often these just don't work, especially in the cold weather when the magnets refuse to grab coins. Casually dismissing this concern and indicating that folks can resort to the convenience of their credit cards assumes too much and is not the answer. The use of cash, although shrinking, does remain a legal option today. The BRZ actively promotes the use of the Park and Ride facility as a parking option, but to realize full participation, the city has to do more to guarantee safety for both persons and their vehicles in this area. The rationale that an increase to parking fines in the downtown aligns with the promotion of Lethbridge as a cultural and vibrant hub will have, we fear, the opposite effect on the downtown, as people are being driven away by the risk of a massive parking fine and choose to conduct business in other areas. If we are to see parking fine increases, perhaps the city could consider incremental increases over the next several years so that the initial blow is not quite as devastating. It might also be useful to note that unpaid revenues from parking fines end up in provincial coffers, not at the city, when drivers annually register their vehicles. Traditionally, the BRZ has willingly partnered with the city in its administration of parking regulations and wishes to continue doing so. And in the meantime, the BRZ will continue to work with its membership to encourage employee parking in the Zone 10 areas and the Park and Ride rather than outside places of business. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Yeah. Next in the queue is Mr. Hunter Hagee.
Thank you, Your Worship and council members. Thanks for giving us the time to speak today. I was really appreciative last week when you put it to an SPC committee so that we could speak to this issue, and so I'm grateful for that. My name is Hunter Hagee. I'm a property and business owner in the downtown. When I first heard of this, a friend of mine, Bullet Clark from Doug Sports, phoned me and said, have you read this in the paper? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So I went to it and looked at it and read, a triple increase in fines, and I had to check, is it April 1st? Like, seriously, I can't believe this big of an increase out of nowhere without any consultation. So I was a little upset, but as I thought about it, I believe that bringing this forward is doing us a huge favor, because we need to talk about some issues that we have downtown, parking being one of them. We need some positive news downtown, not negative news. Tripling the fine is only going to hurt us, not help us. So let's look at some other options. I believe that City Council's job, and I'm sure, I know I've met all of you, and you all want what's best for our city, I know that. And I believe your job and the job of City Hall is to create environments in our neighborhoods of the city that are conducive to friendly, happy, safe, clean environments to raise our families. And downtown is no different. We just want happy, clean, safe environments that are conducive to conducting business. We'll run the businesses. We know what we're doing with that. We just need you to help create an environment there. And despite City Hall trying, and I know you are trying, I think we're failing at it in a lot of ways. And tripling our fines for the parking is not going to help. I would submit to try to do some different options. Like, first, to consult the businesses would be a wise idea. Get some different ideas. An idea I would propose would be free 2-hour parking, then you give a fine. There may be areas of the city downtown that need longer than that, but that could certainly be done and is being done in other areas of the city. I realize that the parking meters have become a cash cow for the city. You guys can remember years ago, this money used to be put into a separate fund for beautification of downtown, and then council decided to put it into general revenue. And at that point, it became about revenue for the city. That's not the purpose for the parking meters. The purpose is to keep people moving. If it was just about revenue, we'd put parking meters in all the residential zones. But those people pay taxes, so they're already paying their taxes. Well, we do the same downtown. We're already paying very healthy taxes to the city. It just adds more insult to increase these fines beyond what is comparable in other cities. There are some problems in the downtown with employee parking occasionally, especially Saturdays. But I'm sure that if you got a group of people together, we could propose some ideas that may work. The money part, I realize you guys have a tough job to balance that out, but kicking us at this point would really not be beneficial. I would love to see a further discussion of this, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Heggie. Mr. Cox?
Hello, Council and Deputy Mayor. Thank you for having us here today. It's hard to even know where to start with this. We have a BRZ, which we pay a fee to be part of, and this wasn't presented to us as business owners. That's frustrating right there because we rely on them to advocate for our downtown. A lot of us, like me and Hunter, we own our buildings, we own our property, and we have made the downtown, well, it's my home. I live down there, and I have put my whole life to making this city a more vibrant city that I want to live in and that my friends want to live in and stay. And that meant investing in our downtown, starting the Pride Fest Festival downtown, and just making it a more enjoyable experience. Buying a historical building and getting it ready and, you know, taking my time and to help with the nonprofits and CASA and the fountain across the street, which are things I donated and believed in even when other people weren't sure about it. The fountain is a great thing that attracts families all summer, but the meter thing is our biggest issue. And there is a myth that there's a lot of employees parking in front of businesses, and I took some pictures just to show that yesterday. You could throw a rock and not hit a car on most days. It was a time when people were parking more, but our downtown was more busy. The 10-hour is taken by 9:30 in the morning. You're not going to get a spot from, well, let's say Foster's, well, that corner there, the flags, down to Chapters. That is taken. And some of our employees, a lot of our employees start later, like 10 o'clock, because I want them to stay till 6 or 7 so they can service like business people, you know, who are working 9 to 5. Almost every one of our services is over 2 hours. Every color service for people who get color services, not a lot of our council is coming and getting that done, but color service, nails, massage, spa days are all over 2 hours. And the problem with the zoning of downtown, the whole downtown is zoned for 2 hours. And the plan before was go for 2 hours and then leave the downtown and park in a new zone for 24 hours. We had to advocate for that, and we did get it changed that we were able to replug the meter one time. So you're allowed 2 hours when you park downtown. I'm talking Alec Arms and Cash Canada, down to LA School of Hair Design and Street Side. That is all Zone 2. Okay, you're allowed 2 hours, and then you can replug it, but only after it expires. The anxiety that goes through every client at that time, they're like, my meter's gonna expire, can you plug it? Not till it expires. My meter, can you plug it? Not till it expires. We pay for that. We use an iPad and we will replug the meters. But clients are in facials, massages, pedicures. They are having their service done. And not just my business, dentistry, tattooing, acupuncture, eye exams. You don't always have your phone to replug it. And now that leaves you vulnerable for a ticket. That is the biggest frustration and anxiety we see with every single client in my shop. And there's a lot less of them after the pandemic. And we have just been hit by so many things, from the vulnerable populations, the opioid crisis. You know this, like closed down through the pandemic. A lot of people moved to online shopping, and it's hurting all of us. I see it. Our streets are very empty, and it's stressful, especially because I want to be there, and I don't want to see closures, and I wonder how a lot of these businesses are making it still. I came into the pandemic with a big cushion of cash, and I own my building. And I have a name after 20 years of great service, professional service, and we're still struggling. So I do wonder how a lot of these retail shops are doing when they're competing with Amazon, Costco, Walmart, and the mall, where there's no meter fees. But downtown, you have to pay it. Clients still are scared of downtown. They didn't want to go to festivals if they didn't have shoes on. They think they're going to get a needle in their foot. They don't want to park at the park. It's parking, what's it called? Park and ride. They don't, it's too far. And when you leave with a pedicure from Catwalk, you leave in a flip-flop made of sponge. It doesn't last very far. You cannot go down to the 10-hour meter, if there is one. So I've had nothing but frustration with this from everybody. The comments are very, please don't raise the meter price. The number one thing, I don't mind if you raise it to $15 and $30 fine after a week, but allow us to plug it for the time we need. Why do we want to limit people to shop downtown? We don't limit how long you can spend in Costco, go to the liquor store, get the gas, Walmart, you can go to Chatters, you can go to the Gap outlet. We don't limit that time. Why are we limiting the time? I want my clients to get their hair done and then head over to Owl, have a drink, and then pick up their ring over at Foster's, that was getting cleaned. I want them to go to I want them to shop downtown, be downtown. That's what we need to promote, not limiting your time downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Thank you. One more thing.
You'll have an opportunity probably to respond to questions from council. Did you have something that you wanted to say in conclusion?
Last one.
Okay.
Ali, the traffic engineering and planning manager. It is stated that we are violators. So these are violators for getting a ticket, a violator for not having your meter plugged. I understand, but lumping us in with running a red light, running a stop sign, speeding into school zone, people shopping downtown are not violators. We want to plug our meters. We are left vulnerable in that time when it expires and you have to replug it. You're driven by, they take a photo, you're now a violator. We're not. We wanted to support our downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. I see that there are also some additional members, Ms. Kaylee Meyer, also from the Catwalk Salon. And any of the others who, in the audience who may wish to present, if you're going to be presenting something that is a little bit different, if it's a new idea, if it's a new approach, we would appreciate that. And when your opportunity to come forward occurs, please ensure that Ms. Brown on the corner there is aware of who you are and what your name is. She'll take it down for the record. Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is not actually Kaylee. My name is Rebecca. Kaylee was unable to be here because she's with clients right now.
Your name is Rebecca whom?
Rebecca Hawkins.
Hawkins. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Hawkins.
So I'm just reading what Kaylee wrote. So my name is Kaylee, and I've been an employee of Catwalk for over 5 years. I started working here when the parking meters first switched over to the current system, so I'm aware of the issues most people face with them. I currently work 6 days a week and have 3 kids who I drop off every morning, but also have to leave work every day at 3:30 to pick up my children from school. On the west side to bring them back to the salon to stay while I take clients. Some mornings when I get downtown, most of the 10-hour spots have been taken, forcing me to park nearly 2 blocks away. Some nights I work until 9:30, and with the increased crime rate of downtown, it makes having to park away so far away a risk to my safety. This makes the only other option I have to park to the closer areas and risk getting a ticket because I cannot leave my client to go plug my meter. Having to park in the 2 to 3 hour spaces forces me to have to pay my meter and the moment it expires without or possibly getting a ticket. Now with the fines increasing to $35 or $50 if I can't pay within a week, makes it so much more difficult to be able to afford to work in the downtown core. Small businesses are the heart and soul of our community, but so are the staff and customers who come to them, and they are the ones being impacted most by the changes. People like me are being lumped in with the violators, but it's not that I don't want to pay for my parking. It's that without any other option, I'm at risk for the fines. I can't stop mid-nails or lashes to replug my meter, nor can my clients. So without the option of the $35 ticket cost and the cost of 2 to 3 hours of parking, it makes pretty much that I make no money on that appointment. $35 is not a small amount of money for my family. It's a day's worth of food for the family of 5 or diapers for my daughter. With the rising costs of everything, my fear is I will no longer be able to afford to work downtown without fearing for my safety or the ability to feed my children. I know it has been suggested that we use the 10-hour parking or the parkade, but with the amount of staff importance to supporting our downtown, if everyone was to utilize the parkade, this option would then become unreliable for staff as well. This would increase the likelihood that staff would have increase time in searching for adequate parking, in turn neglecting their roles for the very people who support our downtown core. Forcing staff to settle for any other option, leading to increased fines and ultimately lost wages for simply trying to earn a living in an already taxing financial economy. I, like so many people, do not have credit cards that I'm able to use on the kiosk, and even using a debit card isn't possible currently. This forces me to use an app that is unreliable at best. I have screenshots of the amount of times it has said an error has occurred, please try again later, and within that time receiving a ticket. Without these issues being resolved, how can you justify raising the cost to $35 if you pay on time and $50 if you end up having to pay late, making it even harder for people who work downtown, but also harder for the people who support the businesses working so hard to already stay afloat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Ms. Finch? Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. I've worked downtown for 29 years, 33, including with Zach's. When I opened Peter and Clark's Salon, I wanted to be downtown. It was a goal. I thought being downtown was very uptown. My salon is where the Pita Pit is now, and I saw the first development when Festival Square is now. Very big city at the time. I've seen many changes over these years, but the last few years have been challenging, to say the least. Excuse my timeline here, but with COVID, many of our businesses have suffered with closures, layoffs, and pivoting, as well as the closure of our street for construction was a huge blow to our business, as well as many other businesses being affected. Timeline of construction extended for months and created huge losses. The Festival Square, no offense, has taken away at least 12 parking stalls from the downtown parking area. It seemed like an odd decision since we have a park right across the street, yet I try to stay positive as we continue to revitalize the downtown area. The goal is to attract people to the downtown core, to support the amazing collective of unique shops run by people with dreams. The new parking meters through people by having to learn a new method of parking. I've personally showed multiple people how to use them. It is confusing for some and remains imperfect. It was a deterrent for people to come downtown, whether you want to believe it or not. And as we struggle to come back from COVID, rising costs of food, fuel, housing, and the costs of running a business, we get thrown yet another curveball of an exorbitant fee for parking fines. People's goals are not to get parking tickets, but it happens. Some people have a hard time paying $10, let alone a $35 to $50 fine. Maybe an alternate solution would be able to pay the parking 3-4 hours so the people don't have to be concerned, worried, and stressed out. If you need to raise the fines, make it more realistic. It's ridiculous to have to worry about this matter at this time. It's hard to remain positive, continually pivoting to keep doors open on our businesses and to convince people that it's cool to shop local. Please reconsider. Thank you.
There we go. At this stage, we have no one else in the queue that has identified themselves as wanting to have their 5 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience currently who would like to add to the discussion? If you do, kindly come forward, state your name.
Hello, I am Vanessa Bishop. I currently own a business downtown. We moved to the city about 4 years ago. It was our goal to be downtown, and when I spoke of that goal to friends, as I'm sure you have people in your inner circle, they thought I was crazy to take a business downtown. I believe that in order to change something, you have to be the change. And so I wanted to have my business downtown because I wanted to create the more great businesses that go downtown, the better our downtown will be. I'm very happy we went downtown, and when the parking meters came in, or the change, it was a learning curve, but I was okay with that. What I'm not okay with is a huge increase in fines. I find increasing almost 300% for someone who does pay that parking fee within 7 days is crazy. I would love to see 2-hour free parking and to have the parking guy go around like a bat out of hell and ticket the people who are there for more than 2 hours. I'd be perfectly happy with that. I feel being downtown, we have so many struggles with the population downtown with the drug use, and if the city is looking for a different revenue or a different way to get money, I believe people who are using drugs in the street should be ticketed, and that could be a big revenue source as of right now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Would you please just notify Ms. Brown on the corner there of your spelling of your name? Are there anyone else? Please come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Please state your name.
Rena Was. So I don't have a business downtown, but I do like to support local business. Now, our downtown is really small compared to a lot of cities. I'm surprised that we have parking meters at all. I wonder about the cost of the infrastructure, the maintenance of it. I see we've got a car running around with 5 or 6 cameras on top of it. I went to Pure Spa the other day. The meter wouldn't work, and that's not the first time. I put in the money, it just started coming out. Then I put in more money, and nothing was registered on the printer, on the display screen. So there are glitches, and I didn't want to be late because I came right on time, and then I ended up going, and I thought, you know, screw it, I'm going to get a ticket. Anyway, I talked to the girls at the counter, and they said, oh, we'll go and plug the meter across the street. So that's what they ended up doing. But how much are those meters costing us, and is it really worth it? Like, maybe it is generating us money, but to increase the fines by what you're proposing, and I'm wondering, whose harebrained idea was it for that increase? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not impressed. Why can't we find ways to save money? Like, given all the problems that these poor business owners have downtown, with, you know, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, all these homeless people wandering around. And how much is that costing us? There's about 400 of them that I understand are homeless. And we're spending how many millions of dollars? And maybe we're doubling or tripling up on some of those services. Why can't we look at efficiencies to cut back, to balance the books? Look at other ways to generate money. But don't increase fines. It only drives people away. It gives them one more reason to not shop downtown. So I wonder if there's anything else I want to cover here. Yeah, and I don't know if any of you ever walked downtown before the stores open. I made a point of doing that a while ago. Went down 3rd Avenue, and it was a Sunday morning. To be honest, I was disgusted. If I was a business owner, I saw more vomit, I kid you not, in front of the shops and on the sidewalks. It was disgusting. And those poor business owners have to clean that mess up. And not just that, it's worse than that. I think you know that. So, you know, why don't we think about getting rid of all the meters? And, you know, revitalize our downtown. Downtown is the heart of our city. And in a lot of cities, the downtown core has pretty much collapsed. 5 o'clock rolls around, people empty out, and the criminal element moves in. We need to keep it vibrant and not discouraged by increasing fines by whatever triple. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we ask for anybody else to come forward, we're having some auditory difficulties, it sounds like. Councillor Crowson, can you hear us?
Mr. Chair, you're all cutting in and out quite heavily.
All right, we'll try and reboot the system again if you'd be patient and wait another couple of minutes. Oh, this will involve darkness. If any of you are afraid of the dark, hold hands.